Hello everyone, this is Eagle Owl. I'm going to do a video talking about the history of Sarms research chemicals, so that people that aren't that familiar with them and how they came about will have a little bit better understanding. So first of all, SARM is selective androgen receptor modulator. Um, when people take steroids, they bind to the androgen receptors in your body that like give you male characteristics that make you stronger, and but the major drawback with steroids is that instead of just binding to muscle and bone only, it's not very selective, so it binds to a lot of your organs and other parts in your body, and it has negative effects on your organs. People who abuse steroids for years and years in large doses, they usually end up with heart problems. They usually get an enlarged heart. They have a heart attack and die of a heart attack, or other illnesses, kidney failure. The people that take steroids, it's a give and take. In return for having larger, more powerful muscles, they're having other parts of their body are being hurt and are being affected in a detrimental way. So like when SARMs was first created, people were looking for a solution to help out hospital patients who were having illnesses where basically your muscles deteriorate and waste away, like especially people with different cancers. The cancer chemo treatment is not very selective either. So although it attacks the illness, it also goes after your whole body, and it's kind of toxic. Chemo is basically like kind of like a poison. It destroys the bad, but also in a sense attacks your whole body. And so they were looking for a way to prevent people's muscles from wasting away who were having life-threatening illnesses. And they knew that simply giving a person in that scenario steroids, like muscular steroids, they knew that that would not be beneficial because you already got a serious illness, and then steroids also are rough on your organs. So you don't want to take a person who's in a weakened state and give them something that's harsh on their organs. I mean, that's doing more harm than good. So the scientists went in the labs and they tried to come up with something that could be more selective, that wouldn't have effects on your internal organs, that basically was selective to your muscle tissue. Most SARMs are selective to mainly muscle tissue and your muscle skeletal system, so also your bones. After doing all the research, they came up with these SARMs that, like I said, they would prevent your muscles from getting weaker and deteriorating, atrophying, without the negative side effects on your organs. And that's how SARMs was basically created. A lot of SARMs have never went through thorough human testing, like official human scientific testing, to get results. A few of them have been through human testing. A number of them have been through animal testing, and then they wrote the results that they found in that. One of the first SARMs on the market was MK2866, or Ulsterine. It's one of the more milder ones that are out there. It's went through stage 1 and stage 2 human trials, and I think it was sometime in the 90s is when they came up with Ulsterine. And what they realized was that when they were giving it to people who were having muscle wasting disease, it did prevent them from losing their muscles. So they realized that it was effective. But like I said, it was somewhat mild. it allowed people to maintain the muscle they had, not get weaker, but it wasn't like real powerful. And later on, they created the LGD 4033, and it's much more powerful than the Ulsterane MK2866. And the thing is, so basically, whenever you get a SARM, it always says, research purposes only, not for human consumption. And when people see that phrase, they get scared. They go, okay, first of all, it must be harsh on you. It must be bad for you because the FDA hasn't approved it. And there must be something reason I shouldn't take it because it says not for human consumption. But you got to understand the whole, you got to understand the FDA and what they're about and the politics involved and how certain things get approved and don't get approved by the FDA. It's kind of complex, but the FDA, everything about them isn't necessarily on the up and up. And it's not just about being fully just in their decisions and find out what's best for people and what's not best for people. There's a lot of politics involved, and money is a major factor. Politicians get paid lots of money to pass bills to go in the favor of people. So a lot of things that get passed through the FDA, money was put in someone's pocket to get them to go through. Now, the best case scenario to get something passed to the FDA is they want something that can be manipulated and altered by man, and if they can put a really high price on it, and then they can create a situation where the insurance industry is allowed to be in on it so that you can charge your insurance so that the price can be really high, and then insurance pays a whole bunch on it, and then you pay some too, and then the people who are creating this product, they make out at the bank. They make lots of money on it, and that's the best case scenario. And that's what the system and those running the system like to see. Now, also, the FDA has no control over and is not allowed to give approval on naturally occurring substances that have not been altered chemically by man. For example, vitamin B12. For example, potassium, chloride. If you can just naturally pull it right from the ground, put it in a bottle, the FDA is not allowed to give approval on it. They only give their approval on man-made or man-altered drugs. It has to be, it has to be altered in the lab. It can't be naturally occurring. And so every single thing that you buy in a health store, it'll say somewhere on the label, this item is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any illness, disease, or condition. And some people read that and go, oh, well, so they claim that it does this, but it says right here that the FDA says, it's not intended to treat, cure, blah, 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 an illness. And that has a negative effect on people's mind. What they don't understand it's all politics, and it has to be worded that way because of the FDA. So a point I'm trying to make is just because something hasn't been given the stamp of approval by the FDA, it does not mean it's harmful for you. It does not mean it's poison or it's bad. Like I said, it's all political and it's all about money in making the decisions on what they do and don't approve. And the FDA has their own reasons for not approving these different SARMs, but it's not because they are harmful for you. If you check, there's thousands and many hundreds of thousands of people in America that take SARMs. And if you look at what potential side effects they have with them and how minimal those side effects are in 99% of the cases when taken the correct way, time and time again, there's proof that the side effects are typically none to minimal in over 90% of the people that take them. Now, anyone can have any reaction to any item because everyone's DNA is different, but I'm talking about generally speaking. So, what I would say is I can't legally tell someone or promote that they go take a SARM. But what I am telling you is that it's the FDA has decided for whatever reason not to approve it for as labeled for human consumption. So any SARM that you buy, the label is going to say not for human consumption, and it's not illegal to sell a SARM. It's not illegal to buy a SARM. It's not illegal to consume a SARM. You can walk up to a police officer and start downing a SARM. That's not illegal. What is illegal from a financing point and from a political standpoint is the FDA, like I said, I know it sounds repetitive, but they haven't approved these SARMs. So the minute a company says, take this 3 times a day, or the minute a company claims that this is a supplement, they get sued, their whole company gets shut down, and they go out of business. And that's the basic gist of SARMs. There's things out there that are good for humans that haven't been approved by FDA for one reason or another. And there's lots of stuff that have tremendous detrimental side effects on humans, but the FDA has approved them. And so you ask yourself, why is it SARMs with minimal side effects won't get approved by them? And then there's a list of hundreds of drugs with serious hardcore side effects, including death, and they get approved by the FDA. Things that we know can harm you are getting approved. I mean, this sounds like polar opposites. Like, why in the world would they prove things that are harmful for you? And if you look and watch any drug commercial that comes on TV, and they play all this beautiful music in the background, and now that a person has taken this prescription drug, their whole life is better, and they smile all day, and the sun's always out, and then it says common side effects. Pay close attention. Common side effects include depression, heart attack, stroke, kidney failure, death. But they make sure they're playing lovely music in the background when they tell you all these common side effects. Well, I also know that common side effects or potential side effects on SARMs are not liver damage, stroke, depression, and death. So basically, that's the history of SARMs. Your androgen receptors are receptors that control your more intense male characteristics, and those SARMs are selective, like I said, in the fact that they focus on your muscular skeletal system. That's the gist of it. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not amazing with words, so I'm just using my own language to explain what they are. They're a research supplement created to help patients with serious illnesses. They did not want them to atrophy and waste away and become weaker. And these SARMs, they work, and they have worked in trials, official trials, and they have worked on people that take them now. Once athletes in the bodybuilding industry got word on how effective they are, they started snatching them up right away. Since the FDA hasn't approved them, they are banned in every sport that the WADA, World Anti-Doping Agency, tests for. So like if you're in any professional sport, if you're in the Olympics, just about every SARM will be banned in it. And it's just how it is. But I've taken SARMs for the last like 8 months now. The worst and only side effect I am aware of out of any of them is I've gotten a little bit of an acne breakout, mainly in my trunk area and like shoulders. You know, that's about the only side effect I've noticed from anything that I've taken. And this is Eagle Owl. More videos to come soon. Subscribe if you like my channel. I try to bring about one video per week. Thanks for watching.